I saw the fucking cast for Only Murders season 3 is
Holy
amazing.
shit, man.
Jesus.
Yeah, they got Street, baby.
And Streep and Rudd.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, the ballsy thing to do would be to make Paul Rudd the killer. But
I think he may be, but we'll
I
see.
think he's got to be. I don't even care if the whole world sees it
but
coming.
the cowardly thing to do would just be to make Meryl Streep the killer.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, make America's sweetheart, the people everyone love, make him the killer. Come on.
Yeah, just give me Bobby Newport serial killer. Like, I want Bobby Newport American Psycho. Like, it's just Mr. Magoo keeps killing motherfuckers.
I like it. Episode 423 of the TV Dudes, recorded February 14th, 2023. Shrinking. This week, we're talking about Bill Lawrence's new show on Apple Plus, Shrinking. Can it live up to Ted Lasso? We've also got thoughts on Harley Quinn's Valentine Special and the latest episode of Poker Face. Before we get to that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick.
And we're the TV Dudes. Let's get right to it, folks. Let's jump into Appetizers. So I continue my Star Trek DS9. I'm on season 3, which has been really good so far. I got to an episode which apparently is heavily memed, where the Bajoran workers, there's a recording. The Bajoran workers are trying to have an overthrow, and Golden Cock keeps showing up, and increasingly deadly threats happen because it's like built in that they had a thing built in case the workers ever tried to overthrow the Cardassians, who are no longer in charge of the station. And I guess it has been memed many times of like, Cardassian workers, attention, there is now a pizza party being held on deck 3 and that kind of shit. So my buddy Dave, who just finished watching Star Trek for Deep Space Nine for the first time all the way through for his podcast Text Trek, I've been texting him as I'm going through it because he just got through it the first time, and I was like, yeah, on this episode, he's like, oh, thank God, now I can finally send you all these memes. So it's apparently one of those things.
They've been accumulating for years.
Yeah. Apparently they have. They're everywhere. I watched a couple more episodes of News Radio, season 4. I caught up with Poker Face. I kept up with Ghosts, which I forget what this week's episode was, but I'm still really enjoying Ghosts. I watched a lot of season 1 of Ted Lasso with a friend. I gave her my Apple login, and then I stayed and watched like the last half of season 1 of Ted Lasso with her because I can't resist watching Ted Lasso. And I was like, I've already seen this a bunch of times. You can watch it again. I looked and noticed that she had gone through the entirety of season 2 without me, so definitely got hooked. I started my phase 4 Marvel rewatch again, so I watched all of Loki, and then I watched Wakanda Forever, and then I watched Black Widow. And that is all that I've watched this week.
Oh,
Nick, what about you?
Seems like a light week for you. But
it was a light week for me. I was doing some reading and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I know you and I both watched Last of Us, probably, right?
Yes, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and the last episode was pretty good too. Just it was a come down from the 3rd episode, which was one of the greatest episodes of television, I think, this year.
Right. Yeah.
And I really liked this last one. They changed a couple things around. Sam, the kid, is now deaf, or at least ASL. Maybe he's mute.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's deaf.
Mm-hmm. No, he's deaf. He's
deaf, I think. Yeah. And I thought that was cool. Like, that gave him kind of a advantage in silent situations as well. And like, I always like to see a little bit of that, like, not to the Quiet Place level of like, using that to your advantage, but still a little bit in there.
Yeah. Also, I felt like 4 and 5 were basically a 2-parter. Like, that was all the stuff in wherever Kansas City they decided to set it.
Well, Linsky is fucking killing it.
She's so good as a psychopath.
God damn. She's talking to those people in the cage or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why that one guy spoke up. I'm like, you realize if you give her the information or
she's gonna kill you all regardless. She's gonna kill you
all. Like, there's no way you're getting out of this cage alive, man.
But also, like, she straight out said, like, maybe your brother was supposed to die. Did you ever think of that? Like, Jesus.
Yes.
Wow.
It was but also she had a point because Heinrich gave up her brother.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. He was the good one. He's the one that believed in humanity.
I can also sort of appreciate that she was like, which her talk with her henchman, where she's like, "Yeah, no, my brother wanted me to forgive him. He told me to forgive him right before they killed him.
Yeah, he told me. That was the last thing he told me to do. And guess
but
what?
fuck that.
Fuck that. I love that of like, nope, I'm not gonna take any lesson from that. Fuck this kid.
Yeah.
Also, the henchman was even like, hey, we loved your brother. He didn't change anything. You did.
Yeah. No, it's really interesting. It's funny because they are doing something very similar to what Walking Dead did. I'm sure Les listening to this is like, this sounds like Walking Dead.
It does.
And it is similar, but it's so much better.
It's better and more condensed because what these 4 episodes do, it would have taken a whole season.
It would have taken them a season to do this in Walking Dead.
It would have been the whole season of The Farm would just be like the Farm would be 1 episode of Last of Us.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, for sure.
And and also what I really like about HBO shows like Game of Thrones and stuff like this is that you get some really great high level acting and drama and some really good writing. And then when you're ready for it, oh damn, shit pops off and you see a fucking giant zombie rip some dude's fucking head off.
Yeah, the flood of the infected this week was great, and that bloater. I've seen people talk about the bloater. It's like that guy. It took that guy like 10 hours to get in that suit.
Yeah, I saw that the bloater thing was a practical effect. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. They're doing a lot of practical effects on this. You can definitely tell.
Especially with all the fungus stuff.
They're not doing the CG blood that The Walking Dead that felt so lazy most of the time. Like, it's so much better.
It was, and also the way the zombies move, it was like World War Z, but even better.
Yeah. Well, they got movement coaches. They put money into movement coaches to teach people how to walk like the infected.
Whatever it is, it's paying off because that's a scary as shit scene.
It is.
It goes from they're screwed, the military is here to everyone's screwed.
Everyone's screwed. Yeah. Yeah.
What else I watched? I watched Vox Machina, which I did not know actually wrapped up because they've been dropping 3 at a time. It did not really feel like the last one was a season finale. It felt like it was setting something up, but I guess that's setting up season 3.
It is weird the way they drop. I've never figured out how Prime does this, where it's like, you have a show that you know is popular. Why are you dropping it 2 or 3 at a time? I don't understand.
Yeah, it feels like a burn-off.
It feels like a burn-off, but this is just how they do it with Vox Machina. I don't know.
Yeah.
And Invincible, they dropped 2 or 3 at first, but then they went week to week, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's odd, and I don't think it's I really don't think it's to the show's benefit.
Yeah.
Yeah, otherwise, I did quite enjoy it. Me and Les watched a movie called One Must Fall, which has a better premise than an actual delivery.
Yeah, like so many things we watched. Oh my gosh.
Dude, that could be our if we had a sigil for our night family, like our house, it would be an idea better than the delivery. And this one was a bunch of crime scene cleaners, and they clean up a big crime scene, and they think the cops have cleared it. And the cops, like, I think looking at each other at one point, did you clear it? No, I didn't clear it. There's like,
this place is fucking huge.
This place is huge. Fuck them.
15,000 foot warehouse. No, the 2 of us didn't clear it. And like, they leave.
And the serial killer is still there.
Oh shit. That's great.
And that sounds like it sounds like a great premise. Yeah, they don't follow through on that really.
Yeah.
It just gets stupid.
It's
frustrating. It's
a bummer, like how me and Les went like, hey, was that previous 5 minutes we just watched pointless because of this thing that happened? Yep.
It just kept happening over and over of like, well, that's rendered moot. Wow.
I mean, I guess it ate up runtime, and we didn't get this fucker to 90 minutes, but other than that...
Yeah, it was frustrating.
I watched Air Force One, which I had not realized I had never watched before. Because I got it confused with Clear and Present Danger.
Really? Okay.
Yes. The Steven Seagal and Kurt Russell one, right?
Nope, you were thinking of Executive Decision.
You're thinking of Executive Decision. I was like, Clear and Present Danger, that's weird mix-up.
Ford.
But yeah, I understand Air Force One.
Oh, that's what I'm fucked up on. Yeah. That's another Harrison Ford. God, they're all blending together.
So to make this even more confusing, Harrison Ford is going to be in the next Captain America, playing the role that William Hurt originated. And he is going to be in the MCU. He is playing General Ross,
right?
But he's going to be. There was an interview with Feige. He's going to be the president, and they specifically called out Clear and Present Danger. and Air Force One together. So like you were saying all this, I'm like, yeah, no, that makes sense. It's all jumping into your head because that all seems to be
Maybe that's
a
what
similar
had it in my
thing.
mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
If you tell me 5 years from now that Reese Beecher style they own Harrison Ford's likeness and he's Red Hulk, I will crack up.
Dude, that would be great. Like if they cut him a deal that's worse than Mark Ruffalo, like they don't even have to pay him. Like, ha ha ha,
Right?
sucker.
That's got to be the plan, right? They're like, look, we know he's gonna die. Just get him to sign on the line that is dotted.
Like they're just trying to get enough recorded. Like they're gonna James Earl Jones this motherfucker.
Well, Ford already said that for the de-aging in the new Indiana Jones, that
old footage,
yeah, that they went through the full catalog of every movie he's done for the studio, and they had hours of footage of him that had been cut from other movies.
Yeah. Well, we'll know what the tip-off will be if he's doing press for Captain America or 1923 or whatever else he's in, and they're like, he's like, yeah, my first day at Marvel was weird. The script was just a bunch of me roaring and yelling smash. Nothing to do with my performance. I don't know why they had me doing that, but I must have recorded days worth of audio of me yelling
I'm not
Hulk
sure
smash.
who this Banner person is, but my character definitely doesn't like him very much.
If you told me that they have some kind of con artist speech recognition script that, like, yeah, I don't know why on my first day I had to read this weird 2-page monologue of non sequiturs.
Boys, we got the voice codes. Let's get the.
It's like it wasn't so much casting as elder abuse. So
Hollywood.
Yeah.
None of this sounds implausible, by the way. What's also perfect about this is we're going to be talking about Harrison Ford and this stage of his acting career later in the main show, and he's great. He's doing great.
Yeah. I also watched The Practice, season 7, ep 1, because you're going to find this funny. I didn't know until just last week that Boston Legal is a spinoff.
I forgot that it was.
Right?
I was like, why did you watch The Practice? But yes, I forget that you love Boston Legal.
I was talking to somebody about this something similar the other day, and they were talking about, I don't know, NCIS or something else, and I was like, man, I gave up on all shows that are lawyer, doctor, cop. Like I rarely watch lawyer, doctor, cop shows, but the exceptions are things like The Good Fight and The Good Wife, and so yeah, Officer, I understand how MD. The Practice, Officer Lawyer MD,
Cop Lawyer MD.
Yeah, and I just did season 7 because that's when Alan Shore shows up with James Spader, and like him and William Shatner are the reason I watch Boston Legal. It's just like those two characters.
I get that.
And so I was looking at it and I'm like, oh my god, he's a bit player that only appears in season 7. Like the show is not about him at all. And him and William Shatner, who is a later addition, get their own spinoff. It's insane.
Well, when that fucking Elspeth show drops from the Good Fight creators, I'm gonna wind up watching all the Good Wife for more Elspeth. So yeah.
Oh man.
Yes.
Yeah, I will go through and watch all the Elspeth episodes for sure.
Maybe a supercut on YouTube of just her bits somewhere, right?
I mean, I've done that before. Like I've gone through and just watched her episodes. I've already done that once before a couple years ago, but there's now more. So I desperately want them to reconsider this whole Sarah Steele as a lawyer thing and put her back to, like, have her after the events of the finale, have her realize that Jay's job is incredibly important and go back to being an investigator for Elspeth. Damn it. That's your flawless show for me.
Yeah. And then we watched a little movie starring Gary Busey, but I will let Les talk about that.
Indeed. We watched the first in the epic franchise with many crossovers, Ginger Dead Man.
How do you all keep finding these franchises?
Oh man, this is a classic.
My friend Randy recently got very angry because I watched a movie with them on their Prime account, and I fucked up their algorithm, and it's like,
oh no,
you motherfucker!
I mean, like we don't throw a rock in the pond that causes bad ripples in your algorithm. It's like someone who shit this pond.
Y'all are the butterfly effect for algorithms.
It's an aquadump.
It's like, because I showed my friend The Guardians, they're now getting shown Full Moon shit, and like, oh no, why?
I hope, You liked Mithrigan? Hope you like every doll movie.
Oh, we see you like terrible things. Okay, we got
Yes.
you.
I got you. Yes. Yeah. So we watched Ginger Dead Man, which stars, of course, Gary Busey.
Of course.
And I don't know why, but the Ginger Dead Man has like real teeth when he becomes like when this gingerbread man comes to life.
I will solve that mystery for you right now. I will tell you why he has teeth. It's because they need him to look like Gary Busey, and Gary Busey is mostly teeth.
Like, it doesn't not 90%
like,
teeth. You can see the resemblance in that alone. Like it's either him or Jake.
If you were casting a human as Dr. Teeth in Electric Mayhem, you would cast Gary Busey as Dr. Teeth.
Yeah. If you told me those things were sentient.
And Jake Busey as Animal.
Yes.
Yeah. I like that Randy is coming out around an idea of making a Muppet movie, but in reverse.
Yes. It's time to light the lights, Randy.
No.
So we've discussed before that in the Chucky franchise, that is the most working spell in any movie. It works every time. If he even mumbles out all the words, he can jump souls into fucking anything. Like, I'm amazed he's not been a lamp. Like, he could be anything, and it always works. Like, every damn time,
100%
no problem. Don't need a special candle. Don't need to be in a special place. Like, if he's got a minute running down a hall where you didn't see him, he probably jumps souls. So, in the other end of the spectrum is Ginger Dead Man, where it takes like a dozen completely random events to coincide.
I'm still not sure how the Ginger Dead Man got made.
No, and then by the end of it, they've ditched all those rules and swapped out for like different shit. He, by the end of this movie, jumps into a human body like a person again, and you can't figure out why this is not now the goal of the franchise. Like if Freddy knew that he could actually wake up as one of the possessed kids, that's all we're trying to do from here on out. But no, there's like 12 more of these movies, so somehow he ends up a cookie again, because I think his mom's a witch and keeps putting his ashes into gingerbread cookie mix and then sending the boxes out.
And then the guy
if somebody gets
cut
and bleeds into it,
and then they put it into a furnace,
a crematorium-sized oven, and they put a giant cookie
crematorium
oven in there,
gets hit by lightning.
Yes, that must get struck by lightning at the right moment during the cooking process. Then maybe you'll have a Busey cookie, Ginger Dead Man. So yeah, eagerly looking forward to watching more of these and seeing its crossover with Evil Bong, obviously. So that was an actual movie that we watched.
Man, do you remember, like, looking back now, watching, like, is the Child's Play franchise not the best version of any of these movies?
All of it, yes.
Like,
yeah,
how
so much
good how good that movie franchise is.
This movie's a wreck. Not as much of a wreck as One Must Fall, though. My God. But Nick already discussed it. Also watched, of course, the Harley Valentine's Day we'll discuss later.
Yeah.
Poker Face, which we'll discuss for dessert, I believe. I'm keeping up with Night Court because it's adorable. Then I watched, of course, Mayor of Kingstown. I'm keeping up with. It's not adorable. It's dark. Things are not going well for Mike this season at all. I think this is going to end with his whole family dead.
Oh man.
And maybe him, but more than likely it's going to end with him standing in the wreckage of all his brothers dead.
Well, if it's going to be the next season, then it's something really bad's going to happen to him where he's going to have to act from a hospital.
Right? Bed. Yeah, they're going to have to fucking Luke's hand this. Yeah, no, I feel like it all goes. I don't know if they have another season of this. I feel like he's about to fuck this up, or it's going to come on unspooled. 1923 continues to be badass and has come back. Yeah.
Oh, it's back?
Yeah.
Man, shit, I got to catch up on that.
I remain really impressed with that show. It's fucking rad. Then, of course, I found out last week that Fanny had never seen Roadhouse, despite being a huge Patrick Swayze fan, like most women.
Interesting.
So we watched Roadhouse, and I had forgotten how much of a really dumb action movie Roadhouse is. Also, it's just a Western that they reskinned into the 80s. That whole movie makes so much more sense if he's Clint Eastwood and he drifts into town and takes over the whorehouse.
You know, I've never seen Roadhouse.
Oh, no shit. Man, it is at least 2 more giant fist fights than you possibly think could be in that movie.
Pain don't hurt.
Like, oh man, it's just insane. Sam Elliott's character, his relationship to Swayze's relationship to everybody, or lack thereof.
Just be nice. Be nice.
Right. Till it's time to not be nice. When are we gonna know? I'll let you know. Which is every time, it turns out. Every single time. He's never not. Like,
Spoiler, it's all the time.
Spoiler,
Every
it's
time.
every time. There's nothing shown in this movie that's nice. The best actor in this entire film is Jeff Healey, the blind guitar player, who is legitimately blind, and a hell of a guitar player. But they actually give him a few lines, and I remain impressed to this day that Jeff Healey actually could act and did that role pretty well. So we watched Roadhouse. He tears a dude's throat out. They fucking show it way more than I remembered. I cannot believe that I saw this. I kept having to tell Fanny that, like, I was taken to see this with, like, my parents and a bunch of their friends. Like, this was a grown-up movie that like adults went and saw in the 80s. And there's not just an Empire Records level misunderstanding of how, like, labor costs work or businesses operate. This is either someone who's both never been in a bar, worked at a bar, or, like, there's no way any of this works at all. And like you watch it now, like the older I get, the more jobs I worked at bartending and managing bars and shit. Like, watching this and going, and that's not how any of that. That's not how any of that goes. Yeah.
Well, I'm just wondering what's the bar's thing when they have, I want to say, around a dozen bouncers.
Right. And one, like, they start that movie with a bartender and like 12 bouncers.
What? Like, wait a minute. What's the pay? Like, it's like watching Blockbuster and, like, why are 6 of you here at all times?
Well, so the place is packed the whole time. Like, from the time he shows up there just to watch it be a bloodbath, it's always full. So, like, later on he makes a big speech of, like, people won't come have a good time if it's a slaughterhouse. Like, they will. Your crowd size does not change through the entire movie.
Obviously, they have no other options.
Right. Like, there's clearly not another bar here, man. Yeah, it is wild. I now want to see Roadhouse just completely remade as an actual Western, and I think people won't realize that what they're watching, and it will absolutely work.
Well, it's because that movie's Whorehouse.
Yeah. It's at the end of it, Fanny was like, wow, that was so much more violent than I thought it would be. Also, they managed to make Kelly Lynch phenomenally unattractive. It's really weird. They put her, I guess because they don't want her to look like the women coming to the bar, they put her in, like, really dowdy, like, I don't know, school marmish kind of dresses and glasses and shit, so you know she's not attractive yet. And then
I just thought you meant in general because it's the 80s. They made her
right. Oh no, her hair's terrible too. Like, it's really not good.
She thought it's just everyone is a fucking eyesore.
Oh yeah. No, everyone's hair is worse than the last person you saw. The place that Patrick Swayze lives in through the entire movie has, like, no doors. It's just completely open to the elements, like a barn. It's just a barn. So people, like, walk directly into his bedroom while he's asleep and shit, and he just gets up naked, like you do. But of course, on their, I think, first date, second time they've met, I think Kelly Lynch comes back to the barn with him. He says some, I don't want to say romantic, but they are quiet things to her while she backs away from him. And then as he approaches closely, it's Patrick Swayze, so she undoes his belt buckle, and they have sex up against a wall that is made of rough stone. Like, we're just watching the whole scene going, so you've never worked at a bar, but also whoever wrote this has never successfully gotten anybody into bed, because this is not how that goes.
I love that you're like, it's not romantic, he's just quiet. Like,
yes.
He's just quiet. He doesn't say romantically, quietly. That sounds way worse.
It sounds so much worse. So Roadhouse, ladies and gentlemen, remains a ridiculously fun, incredibly misogynistic 80s movie. It has so many problems. It does not age well.
How can it be misogynistic? There's only, like, one woman in it.
Right, it's fucking hilarious. There's 2. The other one gets beat up for being a slut.
I forgot about her.
Okay.
I forgot about her. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, and they show her beat. They show her beat to fuck.
Yeah, they really went to town on her.
Yeah.
Sure.
They don't show the beating, but they definitely show her wailed on. It's Roadhouse. Oh my god. Anyway, did not age well. Also watched episodes of The Mentalist, which is exactly the same show. I remember it being from 10 years ago, so it aged fine. New episode of Ghosts. All those ghosts are aging great. They've been there forever, and they're still hilarious. So yeah, I'm enjoying that show's still got episodes to come. I'm hoping there's at least 2 or 3 more. Of course, caught up on Shrinking, which we'll discuss. I watched half an episode of Flash season 9, episode 1.
Has the curse been broken, Les?
Oh God, no. I think we may have like a piece of my soul is slowly dying, and I'm like letting go of it's like a friend that like it would be the 5th intervention, and I don't know if we should. Like this might just be the year they die.
What I meant is half an episode. Did you actually manage to turn off the Flash? Are you going to go back? Are you still going to watch the rest of the Flash?
I mean, to continue the drug addiction analogy, maybe it's my intervention. Yeah, I will probably relapse.
Man, you're at least open to the possibility of not watching Flash. That is huge.
Yes, I have
me.
considered that maybe there's a higher power than me.
I'm proud of you. I mean, they had to make a whole ass Flash movie as your methadone.
I'm also proud of you.
Yeah, and I got to say the Flash movie trailer looks better than I thought it would. Not so much.
It looks good.
But once again, not because it's a Flash movie, but because I was 10 years old and saw Batman or 11 years old, and saw Batman in the theater at Disney World, and it was a hugely impactful movie for me when I was a kid.
Honestly, if they just digitally erased or just cut out the Ezra Miller parts and it was a nonsense, if there's all the nonsense is basically just the Keaton stuff.
When there's a YouTube supercut of everything but Ezra, somebody will do it.
I'd rather watch that movie. I don't want to see Ezra Miller.
Well, how about
Garfield
you get to
without
see
Garfield,
two of them?
there'll be Flash without Flash.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got goosebumps. I'm looking forward to seeing Michael Keaton as Batman again.
It's a good trailer.
But yeah, so of the Flash that I watched about half an episode. I'm not going to say I'm not going to relapse, but for now,
I've learned not to make that promise.
Yeah. Fanny also had not. I think she'd seen it once, so we rewatched School of Rock.
Yeah, love School of Rock.
And you got us to spend like none of that can work. Like you'd be busted so quick, but it's hilarious and adorable.
I'm pretty sure I've touched all your kids, and I'm pretty sure
they've all touched me.
Nah, that's still funny. Yeah. Come on.
Yeah, and I know they've all touched me.
That is funny as shit. That is funny as shit.
Yeah, and they just like that scene holds for a moment. And they cut away. Like Linklater just kills it on that movie.
And he's running away with a guitar. Like, yeah, that makes sense. No, someone pointed out to me the other day how Jack Black is absolutely 100% accepting of every kid in that class.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
He starts to make one of the kids security, and that's the one that looks at him like, can I be the in charge of band fashion? Yep.
Yeah.
Like doesn't miss a beat. Just like, sure.
You
don't want to be roadie. You want to sing? Yeah, sing. Let's do it.
The big girl is like, do you want to sing? Never asked yeah, fucking sing.
Yeah.
Well, when she tells him later that she's nervous about singing because of her weight, and he's like, I'm Jack Black. I mean,
look at me.
Like, he gets the guitar player kid to stand up to his dad. Not stand up to his dad, but stand up for himself, which makes the dad back off. The whole movie's just adorable. Sarah Silverman is just nearly her character from Way of the Gun. Like, just nobody full on punches her in the face.
I love that you said Way of the Gun. Like anyone but me knows what the fuck you are talking about.
I knew exactly what you're talking about.
Even if you've only made it through the first 10 minutes of that movie.
I've never seen that movie, but I've seen that scene, and it's very memorable.
Oh yeah, it is.
The dialogue, I will fuck start your head, is very memorable.
That's right.
Fuck start your head.
Yeah, so School of Rock from the writer of White Lotus, Mike White.
Crazy.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fucking great. And that's really about it this week.
All right. Tough guy, shortstop, fancy pants, get over here. You guys are on security detail. Your job is to make sure no one outside this room knows what we're doing in here. The future of the band depends on you. Okay, your first mission? Soundproofing this room. Get on it.
Can I be the band stylist instead?
Of course you can, fancy pants.
All right. This is a good time to remind you that you can go over to our Patreon and support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes and throw us that buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep with our streaming services and pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, we're going to take a breath before we start our Guy Ritchie marathon, and we're going to talk about Wakanda Forever. All right, let's dive into our main course, y'all. Let's talk about some shrinking over on Apple Plus. I assume you all saw that we got a teaser and a release date for Ted Lasso season 3.
Yep. Yeah, I saw it, and it's a fun teaser.
Teaser's blast, yeah.
There's really not much to it, but yeah, cute. Can't wait to see it. It just it does what it's supposed to do. It just shows you everybody and reminds you that, oh yeah,
I love this show.
I love this
show.
Well,
between that and the Harley Quinn Valentine's Day special, Roy Kent really is every fucking where.
Yeah. Well, and Brett Goldstein is also a producer on Shrinking, I believe.
He is. Yeah, it's the Brett Goldstein. Yep, I saw his name turned up in the credits. I was watching it with my friend who I turned on my other friend who watched all of Ted Lasso. She said Brett Goldstein. I'm like, yeah, he's a writer. He was a writer on Ted Lasso. She's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, he was a writer
That's
first.
right. He was a writer and auditioned. That's
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He
So
is
yeah,
sincere
Goldstein,
these
not just a writer. Goldstein is credited as co-creator alongside Jason Segel and Bill Lawrence. So this is very much the same team.
I feel like Apple's brand for me is often prestige melancholy.
Yes.
And I'm not saying that this show is not melancholy and sad at points, but I am so pleasantly surprised that this is not Mr. Corman and not like I was like, all right, I watched Fleischman over on Hulu, but can we stop selling me ennui like white guys who can't get it together, and like it's
this
I'm so glad this isn't that. This is more like the unicorn.
There are several brands of Apple. There's British Apple, which is mostly unwatchable. There's Sad Apple, which is at least 50% unwatchable. And there's Bill Lawrence Apple, and also Mythic Quest. That's a funny Apple, which is like the best shows on TV.
And then every once in a while they'll throw in a Severance.
It's
like,
weird.
I
think Apple's comedies are funny. Like, but they don't want to seem to be a comedy program.
No, when they do it, they're great. Ted Lasso's magic. Mythic Quest is hilarious.
This is really, really good. This reminds me of bits and pieces of what I liked about Scrubs, Cougar Town, and Ted Lasso.
Yeah, it reminds me of what I liked about the Unicorn with Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
It reminds but operating on that Apple TV of like, okay, y'all are spending a little bit more. It has that Mythic Quest version of that kind of like, okay, y'all took this up a notch.
For sure.
I didn't watch any of the commercials or anything for it, just on the premise of it. I like Segel and Ford well enough, but was not. This just didn't look like I was. It looked like Shrink Next Door, which was all right, but I wasn't really down for it.
Honestly, I was worried about it, except for Bill Lawrence has never made a show I didn't love. Never, ever.
I was shocked. Like, I was shocked how solid I thought that pilot was when it all. Like, so the premise of like Harrison Ford nails him on it in the second or third episode.
Yeah.
Like, you were numbing for a while with drugs and hookers and whatever after your wife died.
Yeah.
But now you've just traded that for getting way too involved in your patients' lives. Because that's really what he's doing. Like, the premise of the show is this therapist that's getting way too involved. And he wants to think it's because he's found some secret, like, I'm going to get around the stifling. No, man, he's avoiding. No,
you're a mess, man.
Shit.
Yeah.
And he's doing stuff, honestly, he should not be doing.
Oh, fuck. Yeah. There's reasons. There are fucking... guardrails here.
That last episode every episode is closed out with some like gut punch. But the last episode when his daughter is like, "Oh, you're so beautiful," and he sits up and you're like, "Oh shit, you've just done exactly what he like." Basically, Harrison Ford is telling him exactly what's going to happen, and then it happens.
Yeah,
like every time.
Yeah.
I didn't get that far in it, but because I got to tell you, I wasn't. It's fine. I like it.
You're not liking this?
No, I like it. It's just the fact that it's not incredibly funny, and it takes a fucking we're going along, we're having fun, and then suddenly it really comes back to, and then my wife died, and I was
man, I disagree. This cracked me up relentlessly the whole time.
Really? Okay. I mean, I chuckled. I don't think I was amused. I don't think I was not rolling over laughing.
I got laugh out loud at every episode of this.
Yeah, they managed to a couple of times like hit their dark moment and then have somebody say something fucked up.
How far did you get into it, Nick? Have you met Brian, his gay best friend?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I fucking love Brian.
Oh, one of their better conversations is it's hard to hang out with someone whose
that's the moment I was thinking about.
Whose catchphrase is "everything goes my way," and his response was so.
That was one of the funniest lines in that episode.
God, that killed me. It's like this. That is like that's real life friendship to me. It's like your friend who looks at you and you're having a serious moment, and your friend looks over and goes, "I never said anything went your way." That's my thing.
The husband of the nosy neighbor.
Yes, Ted McGinley. Ted McGinley.
When he drives by in the car and like, "Hey Pam," no, not "Hey Pam," we hate Pam. Eat a dick, Pam.
Eat a bag of dicks, Pam.
Like rolls up. His response is like his. I don't know. Like, this feels like a Bill Lawrence moment because they keep showing that his relationship with his wife is fine.
Yeah.
But also he knows exactly what to like. So do I have to go to that? Oh, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like,
what
and I
what
love
you
his
do? What you
concept,
doing?
like,
just walking this dog I didn't want.
yep, just
Shit rat.
Oh,
Shit
you mean
rat
that
named
kid
Shit
that
Rat.
isn't ours?
yeah, just thinking about how I thought I was done with kids. Fuck you, Jimmy. Thanks.
Yeah, that always. So,
Oh
a
God,
little,
when he looks at her and is like, she's like, "I'll stay out of your life, Jimmy. I swear on the life of my son." And he looks at her like dead, like, which son? She goes, you can pick. Not Connor. You know he's
not
the
Connor,
best one.
he's the best one.
God
Like,
damn!
But I love that. I love that he looks at her and is like, no, which son?
I also they don't pull punches on this stuff, and that's what always makes me laugh. The bit where who's it? Brian? Is it it's Sean? Sean is talking to Alice, and Alice is like he says something awful, like he's like, that plant was deader than your mom. He's
Damn.
like, dude, what the
Oh
fuck?
yeah. Well, he's cleaning up the kitchen and he throws out a dead plant that they won't throw out because it was the mom's, and it's just one of those things. And she's like, yeah, maybe don't throw out any more dead plants that belong to my dead mom. I'm like, okay, cool, but that orchid was deader than your mom.
And she's like, dude,
like,
what the fuck? And starts laughing. Like,
yeah,
there's that bit of this like dark humor between people who all have gone through some
I guess
shit.
I think I've only in first 3 or 4 episodes, and you mentioned these dark moments that I only saw the one with the gay best friend, and I thought that was an outlier.
No,
there's definitely
several.
more of that.
Okay, well,
but there's also there's a moment where so the daughter's got friends that she doesn't hang out with, and like one of them is this redhead that is just more of a normal teenager who hasn't gone through some existential fucking loss.
Yes.
But Sean walks through the backyard and her friend says something that is high school flirty to him.
She's like, hey, and he's like,
no, he just, nope, and walks off.
What I love is her response is like, well, I had to take a shot at it.
Yep. Like he says something about VA housing.
Yeah.
And her friend says like, yeah, I'd give him housing in my V or my A. Nope.
No.
I also, this cast is great. I really love what Jessica Williams is doing here, and Harrison Ford. Honestly, I haven't seen 1923 yet, but this is maybe one of my favorite performances ever from him.
It's really fun watching this and 1923 because, man, his character is a hard ass. I mean, like he's a hard ass in favor of the family that you are centered with. So like he's your asshole.
Yeah.
But in 1923, like he's a good guy. He's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like he just happens to be on your side of a range war.
I like that his colleagues have known him for years, don't know where he lives.
I did notice
this
that like,
house,
the daughter does know where he lives, but then she still doesn't know shit about him. Who are these people? Don't worry about it. Quit looking around.
This is very much the Dr. Cox version. The guy who's so irascible and yet is like heart of gold. Like there's that great bit where he's talking to Alice and she's like basically like, yeah, my dad doesn't know, and he's like, yeah, he want to hug me or something. And then when he finds out and they are like yelling at each other, and there's that he's like, you've been seeing Alice behind my back. He's like, yeah, you got something to say? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like,
and he does try to hug him later.
Because he knows he'd appreciate it because he was really helping him out that way, and I like
in the same way he's not 100% mad at the neighbor.
No. And by the way, Krista Miller, I always love her, and she's great here.
Yeah,
she's playing a very similar role to what she did in Cougar Town, and it works.
There's a lot of little quiet character building moments with some of the other people. Like they have Ford's lecturing him about not fucking this up. Do you know who the most important person in your life is right now? You fuckwit, your daughter. And like,
I'm second.
But I get the feeling that there's a reason that Ford doesn't talk about his like there has to have been some loss, and his daughter lives in Connecticut and doesn't talk to him now.
Well, we met his daughter. She's in
that's right.
She's in episode 4.
I told you to sit down. I don't want to sit down. If I feel like I'll be in trouble. You are in trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah. I fucking loved this. I'm not gonna put it up there with Ted Lasso, but it's not far off for me. Like
it's really good.
I'm loving it every week.
I had a few issues with one, the main thing of like, I don't know if it does come back or not, but at least the vet that he's counseling.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah,
the MMA thing. I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's pretty unethical to like just take a fucking patient to some boxing match.
This is
MMA.
wildly unethical.
At least it has a certain logic of getting aggression out and in a controlled environment. I'm like, okay, he straight up gives a woman in an abusive relationship an ultimatum.
Yeah. Well, that doesn't go great either.
Nope, that falls apart too.
Okay, cool.
That falls apart
in
fast.
more ways
Yeah.
than just his ass whooping.
Oh yeah,
because I was gonna say,
fast.
I'm like, that was not cool for him to do.
No,
That was not cool.
Well, he knows
best
he
case
knows it
scenario, that woman
immediately,
falls
too.
in love with you.
Yeah, he knows immediately he's fucked up too. Like in that moment, he's like, "Oh shit, I shouldn't have done that."
I shouldn't have yelled at her.
But it worked out, and it fucking does not.
No. Okay, great.
Is it the end of episode 3 or 4 where we get that big reveal? I think it's the episode 4 that we get.
Yeah, I think it's the end of episode 4.
Yeah.
That's.
I also think the daughter, for me, again, since I haven't watched the rest of the way through. Maybe I should, because you guys like.
I love this,
but the daughter came off as kind of shitty to me, as far as she agreed to go get dinner with the dad, and I thought it was a nice moment too, because he went out. He was going to go out with his best friend for a year, and I thought she recognized it and was like, "Hey, just because I'm ready to go, like this will be good for him too." And then she goes to see like Harrison Ford, but then she says, "I can't believe he blew me off." What the fuck are you talking about?
But Ford calls her out on it immediately. Like, Ford's like, well, did you tell him that you were there to have dinner? Well, no, but I thought he'd pick up on it. Really?
Thought it was obvious.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I think why that's not shitty for her is I think we haven't seen the year that he put her. She mentions it. She's like, you acted this like this only happened to you, but it happened to me, and I had to go through it alone because you fell apart.
Like, I've been coping with this alone better than you, Dad, because
I have a feeling
me alone with it.
I have a feeling that is not the first time she's brought home a bag of food to try as a peace offering. And that last time there were hookers or something. Like, this definitely feels like she doesn't know how to talk to him either.
Well, and she's a teen, but I did like that Ford, like, because I had that same moment of like, that's not how that went down. And Ford immediately like, is that how that went down?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's also like, she'll come to you when she's ready. And, you know, and I feel like it's kind of unfair, which is weird because usually I can't find any sympathy for these fucking white dudes in these shows. But I'm like, well, Siegel wasn't ready for any of this shit either. And yet you're all telling him to wait for like, and that's what you should do. And yet no one is giving him like, he wasn't ready to get help.
It does, but here's the thing. As a parent, it doesn't fucking matter.
No, not as a parent, but I mean as the best friend.
Yeah. But I'm like, the thing is, like, basically this daughter can basically do almost anything to him and be justified because he's her dad. No matter what's going on in his life, his fucking job is to show up for her. And if that means getting help before you're ready, that's his fucking job. And so I think that we all love Jason Segel and he's very sympathetic, but what he did was not okay.
Well, not with the parent, especially. That's a different relationship than the best friend, because the best friend is like
ditching the best friend. He needs to ease up.
Yeah, he does. Yes,
it was for me. It was just a year. That sounds about right to me. He needed to go be fucked up, like, and you weren't allowing him to do it.
His explanation was great. Of like, man, come on, you won't let anybody. I needed to hit rock bottom, and you were too fucking chipper.
Yeah, no, I think his best friend to some extent is doing these sort of teasing thing that again all Bill Lawrence characters do. I don't think he's actually giving him shit so much as just like that. He wants to keep teasing him about it.
But the moment at the very start of the first episode where the neighbor asks him, like, "Are they hookers?" No, I don't think so.
Have you paid them?
Have you paid them?
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, I don't think that's how that. I don't think hookers are only hookers the second you pay them.
Right? I magically made them, like, I mean, in the eyes of the law, not yet.
Well, then, in the eyes of the law, I'm also not a hooker yet.
By the way, that is also messed up that he's bringing up 2 hookers at 3 a.m. with his daughter in the house.
So when she's like, "So where's Alice?" And she's upstairs asleep, and that was the moment where, like,
I was like,
"Oh man, your rock bottom is shittier than I thought."
Yeah, man. It's bad.
Like,
I mean,
damn.
This is one thing I always like Jason Segel.
Who among us has not done Adderall with some hookers? But I mean, you have a child upstairs, sir.
Yeah, you're crossing the line.
This show would not work without Jason Segel. Because Jason Segel, like you say, we're like Nick said, we're so tired of shitty white dudes.
Yeah,
Segel gets a pass because he's so likable.
He's his generation's.
And I gotta say, he doesn't get a full pass from me. I mean, mostly I like this show. It's way better than Corman or any other shit of, like, you know.
It's other Muppets that are reassuring you. Segel's probably okay.
Yeah, I feel like Segel's the one that sells this. Also, I think in the point of view of the show is that he is wrong and still healing. Whereas with Corman and that kind of stuff, it was always the point of view is like, wow, look how rough these guys' lives are. And I'm like, fuck that shit. This is very much yeah, things are rough for him, but also he fucked up bad.
Well, also,
Well, when
Harrison Ford is the only one that seems to be good at his fucking job. Like,
Right.
because his other colleague, Daily Show, I forget what her name
Oh,
is.
Yeah.
Well, Siegel calls her out on it of like, oh, this is weirdly and awkwardly intrusive.
I guess that's your brand.
But
well,
yeah, that's
he
all
goes
brand
to
for
talk.
you. So.
She goes to talk to the
Oh God, the neighbor, Krista. Yeah,
the neighbor, and it's like,
that was great.
That
was such a good conversation.
Oh
like,
yeah,
you are overstepping bounds here. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, and also I love she lies about the basketball, and also I love that Krista Miller basically just calls. She's like,
I want to see it.
She's like, I overheard you talking, and you said she's such a mom, and she's like, you are a mom. She's like, you didn't mean it kind.
Like, you know what I'm talking about. Don't treat me like a moron.
Yeah. It was real. The dialogue in this show is really good. The performance is really good. I fucking love this show.
Yeah, it reminds me of Reboot.
Oh yeah.
Like this just feels like oh shit, this is a sitcom from somebody that I have normally seen do like a network that I know really for a network sitcom.
No, I
like
Reboot way more than this.
Same here. I like Reboot more than this, but it kind of has that same feeling of like watching Levitan cut loose. It just reminds me that like, oh wow, I really like Bill Lawrence Unleashed on Apple more than I liked most of Scrubs.
Yeah. I think my Lawrence my Lawrence love is showing through here because I loved Cougar Town, I loved Scrubs, and I like this better than both for sure.
Yeah, I've never been able to get into Cougar Town. It didn't click for me the same.
Yeah,
when I tried to watch it.
Cougar Town I fell in love with, but I started watching it like season 2 and a half.
Scrubs has not aged as well for me. It's so fluffy. It's hard.
I haven't gone back to it. Interesting.
There's nothing. It hasn't not aged well in the way that like Roadhouse didn't. But
I think the structure of it doesn't. I think the structure of it suffers of.
It's so fluffy. It doesn't fit. Yeah, it's just not the shows I'm watching now.
Yeah,
I get that. All right. Let's have some dessert. Let's talk about Harley Quinn's Valentine Special.
Fuck yeah,
man.
Wow. This was an extra long episode. This is like 40 minutes or something, right?
Yeah.
It felt a little long to me, to be honest. I felt like they dragged the Bane joke out a little bit too much.
You really felt every inch of it?
I felt every inch of it. I've been asking for more Bane. This is not how I meant it.
Oh boy.
Oh god, his libido knows no bounds. Yeah, he just fucks several buildings into dust. Oh my god.
I love the bit where he's going and he meets the dominatrix and she's like, "You going in here?" He's like, yes.
Sure.
Yeah. And no idea that
what is happening here?
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's a stage name too.
Oh, and then after like an hour of her mocking, like, making fun of his what everyone would say is a very normal sized penis.
Normal sized penis?
And then he's scared to show. Oh man.
Now, I assume that's a reference. That's a steroid joke, right? That's
gotta be.
Well, they even mentioned later, like, don't take the love potion or the growth potion with human growth hormone.
Yeah.
Oh no. If steroids shrink your dick, then what does Venom do to it?
Like, that must fuck your shit.
Yeah. It God damn it. This whole and doing the entire Harry Met Sally couples couch.
Oh my god, so good
moments. The only like as Nick put it, this episode was so good, I almost forgot that they didn't give me any more King Shark.
Yeah, that's true.
Yes, it took me a while to realize it.
Yeah, they just show him doing the ghost moment with Clayface, but that's it.
As the clay pot. Yeah, the what did they do? They did Lois and Clark, obviously, and then
Clayface on his own ass.
Hawkman and Hawkgirl are awesome. Of like, okay, and then we meet again, then we died, and then we reincarnated,
and then we
died. God, who is it? And Enchantress,
Killer Croc.
Yeah, Killer Croc and Enchantress, and then Darkseid.
Oh, Darkseid,
Darkseid and that one woman he met at the Republican convention where he was keynote speaker.
God, that's a great joke.
I saw her emotionless dead eyes across the room.
Yeah. And like, I, told her she must rule, and then she asked for my last 3 months bank statements or something like that.
Man, I'm surprised they didn't straight up like make that Kellyanne Conway or something.
Mm-hmm. I tried to figure out who they were actually. Oh God, I just love her.
But the best one was Aquaman and Mira, because like,
yeah,
Mira's like, yep, it was an arranged marriage. Yeah, I didn't really have a lot of say in it.
Yeah.
Just
there's no hope for the surface world. Oh, she's joking. Yes, I'm joking.
Yeah. Like,
the other thing that I really liked about this, and this is the thing I was worried with season 2 and 3, is that I was afraid they were going to really do the Ivy and Harley aren't compatible breakup kind of thing.
Same.
And I was worried with this one they were going to do the thing where Poison Ivy gets annoyed at Harley because she's trying to make too much of a thing of Valentine's.
Same.
And she doesn't. Like when it's revealed, like, oh no, this is all a setup and we did all this kidnapping stuff. She's like, oh, that's great, I loved it.
And she actually liked it. Like she actually appreciated
the oil
it.
company CEO.
And Harley was right. Like Ivy thought like, I just want to stay in, but actually she threw a thing that Ivy did like kind of, I know you better than you think I do type thing. Yeah. But
I mean, she doesn't even get that mad that Harley created a fuck vortex that infected the entire city.
Well, because it's they were very explicit to say that everyone was having consensual sex. It just makes you horny. It doesn't make you have sex, because even Clayface can resist having sex with his ass.
Oh, that's true.
So you can resist it. It's not. So it's like you're gonna go find someone you're attracted to and have consensual sex. Like,
but you know what you can't resist is that hairy-chested love god Brett Goldstein.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh, when Clayface turns into a 7-story tall Brett Goldstein with that triangle carpet of hair.
Yeah, that was the joke I was not expecting. Was Brett Goldstein's sex symbol in Harley Quinn
live and shirtless?
Was it reading poetry while polishing a trophy?
Yes, we've already had James Gunn, so I don't know why this surprised me, but
I don't know, because James Gunn has something to do with the DC universe.
That's true. That's true. What the fuck is?
Why is Roy Kent here?
Why is Roy Kent here?
He's here. He's there. He's every fucking where, man.
Oh, that South London accent. I did like the communication between them at the end of like, hey, I just want you to listen to me when I say shit. And then the reveal later when they like, you never asked me about what the best Valentine's Day was, which I was like, oh, that's really cute. Also, you could have told Ivy that from the fucking jump, psycho. And we could have avoided all this.
Mm-hmm.
You could have mentioned like, this was top 3. You could have mentioned that one of the 3 was also Harley. You, god damn it.
Yeah, this was.
And then Harley
really fun.
Stealing the rope from Wonder Woman was great.
Yes.
Themyscira is under threat from some dudes. What?
Yes, they peed out the signal fire. That does sound like dudes.
Then
I don't think that's what she says, but
here's your mom. Like, it's a cameo she paid for.
Yeah. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
And then they even do the Wonder Woman spins around in the old like Wonder Woman and transforms. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super great, and maybe want to rewatch all the seasons before.
Hello, Gotham City. What say you spend your Valentine's Day with me, Emmy-winning actor, writer, and British bad boy Brett Goldstein. I'll be reading selected works of Lord Byron, the Brett Goldstein of the 19th century.
That voice! A lower middle-class South London accent that says he's not afraid of hard labor in the workplace. All in bed.
All right, last bit of dessert here. Let's talk about Poker Face and a theater-themed Poker Face.
Tim Meadows and Ellen Barkin.
And Jamila Jamil.
Yes. Who has a spectacular stunt in this episode.
Oh my god.
Woo!
Jesus. So, I thought the structure on this one was a little weird.
Which I think is actually her during the stunt.
Is it really?
It's impressive.
Well, I mean, I didn't catch it, but it really looks like her during
it is cut together really well, and holy fuck. Yeah.
So the thing I thought was interesting is usually when they showed the murder, they showed all that, but usually I feel like they're taking our time getting us to like what happened. I feel like she figured this one out really quick, and then I felt like the whole thing moved faster than I expected to.
Well, she keeps figuring it out wrong, over and over.
Wrong. She's solving the mystery wrong over.
Like she keeps warning various participants in the murder because she keeps getting the murderer. Like she underestimating the conspiracy.
which is funny in its because it's
but it's different than the other episodes.
She thinks it's way simpler than it is. Like, because of course these two actors have their plan is so fucking convoluted and drama like,
and she doesn't know the truth. She just knows that something's up.
Yes,
like somebody's lying.
Well, and I thought that was interesting. The thing of like, well, actors lie all the time.
Yeah,
it's that lie. Like, and if it's good acting, it's suddenly telling the truth. Like,
well, and that's what was hilarious. Yeah, this episode is almost the opposite. Like, she can't tell when that woman's lying, when Ellen Barkin's lying.
I love she runs down a couple actors of like, okay, so some of the actors that can actually tell the truth are, and I love that one was just Christian Slater for True Romance, and I'm like, okay,
yeah.
Well, he's definitely not a good actor, so he was just fucking telling the truth. Like, that must be just a real life for him.
Yeah. I always love little bits of this. Like, I love that she fucking just hates actors. Just wants nothing to do with actors.
Yeah, when they're all like something magical. It's like, look, man, I just work at a restaurant. It's not my fault one side has a talking wall.
Her thing is like she sees through bullshit or whatever, and like
so this is all just bullshit.
Like as a kid, when Mama and Dad told her Santa Claus existed, she knew right away it was bullshit. She has no fucking magic in her life because of this.
Yeah, so this would be an hour and a half of just lies, like watching a play, you know.
Yeah. This is the writing on this. One of the things I really appreciate, though, I also liked how terrible the play Ghosts of Pensacola is. Like, if you're gonna show actors being self-important, you really need monologues like this.
Oh God, and I really wish somebody from the clubfoot community would weigh in.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, all they're yelling at each other in the terrible cheesy monologues, and like watching the performance change, like the one time when they like are fucked and have nothing to lose, and you suddenly see Tim Meadows like crush it.
Yeah.
But I love Jamila Jamil's reveal of like, you know, Ellen Barkin being like, thank you for letting him do the play, you know. It's like, oh no, you're crazy, and I figured that this would finally crush that stupid acting dream once and for all, because this is awful.
Which looked like it was working at the time. Like,
at the time, I was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna work," but then nope.
Yeah, but no, it was all planned.
Yeah,
I know this is 10 episodes.
Figuring out,
I think it's 10. Yeah.
How do I still not know like where Natasha Lyonne is gonna be? Because like that, whoever's in the background of that scene, like, because you see the one guy moving, is like, "Don't move, stop, be quiet," and then you hear just a bunch of shit.
Of ice get poured. Yeah.
How did I not know that was her?
I know. When they showed her later, I was like, of course that was you.
Of course that was her.
I get caught up in the Alfred Hitchcock Presents of it, and I don't worry about where she is. Yeah. I'm enjoying this week to week. It's great.
Yeah. So not next week, but the week after, is an episode written and directed by Natasha Lyonne.
Nice.
Okay.
So that'll be fun. Yeah. This is great, and I thought this was one of the weaker episodes, but it's still great.
Yeah, this is a little fluffier, but I still loved it.
She's written and directed before some good stuff. Like, I think she's done a couple episodes of Orange is the New Black, and
she may have written and directed one of the Russian dolls. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for us this week. Thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons.
Thanks,
Randy. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, dudes.
And until next week.
TV Dudes out!
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.